Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Happy New Year. I am Ben, and this video is on my 2022 Mod Shop Les Paul Standard 50s, the Ugly Duckling. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to 2025. I'm hoping for a very good year, better than 2024 year anyway. I took a number of personal hits last year, some pretty big losses, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So let's hope that 2025 is a year of recovery and healing for everyone and goes a lot better than 2024. Anyway, with that being said, I decided to do my first video of the year on this guitar, my Ugly Duckling Les Paul Standard, as I call it, because every time that this guitar has appeared in a video, I get a number of requests that say, hey, what's that guitar? Can you do a dive into that? And so figured what better way to start off 25 than honoring the request of you guys who always watch my videos. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to tell you everything I know about this guitar. I'm actually going to dig into it for the first time. I've never even taken off these pickups, so this will be a learning experience for both of us. This is a 2022 Gibson Les Paul Standard Mod Shop. I actually purchased this on the Reverb shop from Gibson, but I don't think at the time they had their online mod shop set up like it is now, where it's kind of a separate unit and they're charging exorbitant prices for whatever's on there. I got this one for $2,000 pretty much on the dot, which I thought at the time was a pretty good deal, about $500 or $600 less than they were going for at the time, brand new, for a Les Paul Standard 50s. Now, the aftermarket Gibson certification sheet that they sent me rated this guitar a 3.9 out of 5. Now, I bought a number of mod shop guitars in the past, and I've noticed that they, in my opinion anyway, they always score them quite a bit lower than what I think they actually are at. So, for example, this one was listed as the biggest defect, if you want to call it that, was that it was scratched all throughout. Now, I have not been able to find really much scratching at all on the surface of the guitar or the backside. Everything looks pretty good, so I don't really know who gave it that grade, but if that brought the price down, then I'm very thankful to them for that. Now, there are a couple of instances on this guitar, though, that are very noticeable, and one of them is there's a ding right here by the top of the strap button. Maybe it's an impact hit. Whatever it is, it's a tiny mark there, and I'd say the biggest mark is on the backside on the heel here, and it's just like this funkiness underneath the finish, like a silvery kind of mark, but I just choose to look at it like it's the birthmark of this guitar, and I guess that's fitting since Gibson got rid of the Gibson baby photos, which I kind of miss them, to be honest with you. How about you guys? You guys miss them? I've seen a number of different ideas on that. Some people say it's the stupidest thing Gibson's ever done. Some people say it's the coolest thing Gibson's ever done. I thought it was, I don't know, I enjoyed it. Anyway, so what is this guitar, you might be asking? Well, this thing started life as a 2022 Les Paul Standard 1950s P90 model. And it's kind of more or less what it still is, but obviously there's some unique features about it. Nothing too crazy, but I'll get into those. You can see when I pop the pickups off here that we've got a GT under the neck pickup, which stands for gold top, of course. And then underneath the bridge pickup, we've got LPS5 P90O, which stands for Les Paul Standard 50s P90 Original Series. Now, some of the mods on this guitar are pretty easy mods, like for example, swapping the cream switch tip for a black switch tip, or the cream P90 covers for a black P90 cover. And some of the other mods are, I'd say, maybe a little bit more tedious and involved, and I'll get into those as this video goes on. Now, one area where I do think the mod shop screwed me over a little bit is they actually sent this guitar with a gig bag, which is certainly different than what they come with when they're brand new, which is a hard shell case, of course. Gig bag itself, it's not bad. It's basically the black variant of the brown faux leather gig bag that they've been sending out for a few years now with their studios and some of the lower grade models, if Gibson had a lower grade model. You've got the nice big pocket on the front here for storing extra strings, picks, or grande burrito tortillas. Inside, you've got a padded interior complete with the Velcro neck strap. On the backside here, you've got the backpack style straps, a nice padded handle here, and this nice little neck handle also. When it comes to the case candy, it's your standard fare. You've got your warranty information, a certificate of authenticity from the demo shop, some demo shop picks, a pickup selector poker chip, a polishing cloth, the owner's manual. Hey, I also just realized I didn't get a Gibson multi-tool with this guitar, so no case, no multi-tool. Maybe $2,000 was too much. Now, the body and neck combo, pretty standard for a Gibson USA Les Paul. You've got a solid mahogany slab here with a maple cap on top. The body itself is a two-piece split right down the middle. And then as far as the neck goes, you've got a solid mahogany neck also with a Indian rosewood fretboard. I've heard some people say that the binding is a little bit different on the 50s versus the 60s models, but I'll be honest, out of all the models that I've looked at, 50s or 60s, I can't tell. So at least from the 2020 and up years, to me, it seems like it's the exact same architecture in that regard. Now, this guitar does have zero weight relief, of course, and you can really feel it. This guitar is actually the heaviest guitar I've had on my channel yet, just barely besting the Slash Anaconda Les Paul that I reviewed sometime last year. This one comes in at just 1.5 ounces heavier at about 10 pounds and 2 ounces, and yeah, you certainly feel it when you're standing around playing it. Moving up to the neck here, we've got a vintage 50s Fat C neck, which is what you would expect on this guitar. For the measurements, I'm getting a 1.69 at the nut here. On the first fret, I'm getting a 0.90 inches. And down here at the 12th fret, I'm getting just shy of an inch at 0.99 inches. Now, in case you're curious about the neck angles on this exact guitar, well, my neck is an angle back from the body of about 4 degrees, and the headstock is angled back at just around 17.5 degrees, which is right on spec for a Les Paul standard. Now, moving on to the hardware and the electronics of this guitar is where the mod shop really shines on this model. They didn't go all black, they didn't go all chrome, they decided to zebra the guitar, so you've got this weird mishmash of chrome and black hardware starting all the way up here at the top and all the way down to the bottom of the guitar. Now, starting at the bottom of the guitar here, we've got a chrome strap button, which matches the one at the top here. Just over from that, we get to a chrome jack plate here, which is certainly different than what you find on most Les Pauls these days, which have the cream plastic jack plate. Now, moving up to the bridge here, we've got chrome body bushings and chrome posts with a black stop bar. And then up to the two-pneumatic bridge here, we've got black body bushings with black thumb wheels and a chrome Nashville two-pneumatic. Now, that's also different than what you find on the Les Paul standard 50s models in general, which have the ABR1 two-pneumatic. So it's unfortunate that they put the Nashville bridge on here because the ABR1 is certainly a little bit more vintagey looking, but you know, functionality-wise, it's more or less the same thing. Something else that's interesting about this bridge is it's a PW or a Pingworks bridge, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've used Pingwork bridges in like 10 years or so, maybe 8 years. So maybe they found it behind a file cabinet and just had to get it put to use or something. I don't know. Now, moving up to the pickups, well, this is also where things get a little bit strange on this guitar. So obviously we've got a dog ear P90 for the bridge pickup, and you don't really see that too often. In fact, I searched the internet, I found a custom shop that has just a single P90 dog ear in the bridge, and that's it. And that costs about $5,000. And then there's also the Jared James Nichols Epiphone Les Paul, which has the dog ear P90 as well, but otherwise you don't really see this combo too often. Now, it doesn't really matter much on this guitar. No, a P90 is a P90. It's just the way that it's mounted, of course. What's even stranger still is they've already got the holes drilled in case you want to add the soap bar plate in there and put in a soap bar P90, but then of course you've got to deal with the fact that you've got 2 holes in the body for the dog ear. So I don't think it's really worth it to me, but something to consider for sure. Now, moving up to the neck P90 here, well, we've got some strange activity going on here as well. So you'll see when we pull it out here, it says lead P90 Tony Iommi. Now, at first I got excited thinking, wow, they put a lead P90 in the neck. Then I realized, well, it doesn't matter, lead, rhythm, it's all the same P90. Then I got excited again thinking, well, it's a Tony Iommi P90. And then it dawned on me that no, the Tony Iommi P90s are the same exact P90s as any other Alnico 5 P90 that Gibson's put in their guitars. Or are they? Yeah, they're all the same. So why did they put a Tony Iommi P90 in the neck? Couldn't tell you. Best guess is they just had some laying around. Somebody grabbed one and stuck it in the guitar. Swapped out the covers, of course. These are not the chrome covers that you see on the Monkey SG, obviously. But interestingly enough, when this guitar went on sale, there was another guitar that sold either just before it or just after, and it was also from the demo shop that had P90s with the chrome covers. Now, I got in touch with that owner recently on Reverb, and I asked him, hey, when you pulled those pickups out, did they say Tony Iommi lead and rhythm on the backside? And he seemed to confirm that in his vague response. So I'm guessing they were just overstocked with them maybe, and it was a P90, it's a P90, right? So they stuck it in the guitar. Now, for readings on these P90s, for the bridge, I'm getting a 7.83. When I move up here to the neck, the Tony Iommi P90, I'm getting a 7.95. And lastly, in the middle here, I'm getting a 3.94. Now moving on to the knobs here, well, we've got these black top hat knobs. Interestingly enough though, they didn't put the knob pointers on the guitar, which are normally on the 50s and the 60s Les Paul standards right now. So they just left those off for some reason. I think if they would have had little black pointers, that probably would have been cool and maybe completed the look, but maybe it's not so bad without them anyway. I don't know. I like those things. I know some people don't. I'm kind of bummed that they're not on there. Now we'll flip this thing over, look in the cavity and see what's going on back there. And yeah, not really anything unusual. You've got your standard Gibson electronics package where you've got your 500K pots and you've got your orange drop capacitors there. Standard modern wiring. Yeah, you have to pay those custom shop prices if you want to get that 50s wiring. Or you just crack open a beer, heat up a soldering iron, and spend the next 5 minutes changing one connection. Now moving back to the front of the guitar here, I do want to point out that there are no holes drilled for a pick guard, and honestly, I'm fine with that. Moving up to the frets here, we've got 22 medium jumbo frets. I'm getting about 44 thousandths when I'm measuring these frets, which is pretty standard for this guitar. And then you've got your acrylic trapezoid inlays here, nothing too special. And then moving up from there, we get to our nut. Now this is a Graph Tech nut. Just beyond that, we've got a solid black truss rod cover. And underneath that, of course, we've got the Gibson truss rod. And then moving on from there, we get to the tuners there. And these are also a zebra mishmash. So the rod of the tuner itself is chrome, but the washer and the nut is black. And then obviously we've got these black keystones on here. Now something I find really interesting with these tuners is normally on these guitars they've got the Gibson Deluxe Kluson style tuners, but these ones are actually Kluson Deluxe Kluson tuners, and whereas on the normal Les Paul standard 50s and 60s those are 14:1, these ones are actually the 15:1 model. A small change, but definitely worth noting. Lastly, we get to the top of our headstock here. We've got our Gibson logo and our silkscreen Les Paul logo. Now I'm going to do the sound test. If you haven't seen my sound test before, well, what I'm going to do is I'll play a couple songs, play a couple sound samples. I'll put all the settings on the side here so you can see just exactly what I've got the guitar set at or what pickup selection and all that stuff. Things I'm going to do a little bit different in 2025 than I did in 2024 is I'm going to try harder to get the sounds to match from video to video so it's even more accurate. If you want to A-B, say like this guitar, and then in 6 months you want to A-B this with whatever I'm testing at the time, whether it's an Ibanez or a Jackson. Same exact kind of settings, like neck pickup to neck pickup, same song, same sound settings on the amp, all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to try and do. We'll see. Another big change is last year my two main pedals were the Wampler Tumnus and the Ibanez Tube Screamer. The Tube Screamer is no longer in the lineup, but I'm still going to keep the Wampler Tumnus, and I'm going to put in the Joyo American Sound pedal because I actually really liked the way that that sounded when I tested it however many months ago that was. So that's going to be the new lineup for 2025. One more big thing that I changed up is last year I had a twin reverb that I was borrowing. I begged and pleaded with the owner to keep it till at least the end of the year, which he did allow me to do, but as soon as 25 rolled around, he yanked that thing right out of here. So had to come up with a new amp to use. I've got a couple laying around, an AC-15. I've got an old Gibson G5 or something like that. This giant Groove Tubes amp, but the one that I settled on that I think I'm going to ride for the rest of the year is the Bugera V5, which is just a tinier boutique amp. I don't know if it's boutique, but it's a tinier amp. It certainly fits my space a lot easier. It's easier to mic up. And for better or worse, it pisses off my neighbors less. So I think that's what I'm going to try, but we'll see as the year evolves if I change that up. Now, one more thing I want to say is all the sounds are going to be the amp mic'd up, except for if I add reverb or delay. I'm going to do that in post and not in the amp because it's a little bit easier, and I'll do that to fit whatever the song or styling as I see fit. All right, I'm going to stop yammering on. Let's get into the sound test. Well, there you have it, guys. That is the review of my 2022 Mod Shop Les Paul 1950s P90. I hope it was a fun video to watch, at least those of you that want to learn more about this guitar that you've seen in some of my other videos. You know, having not played this guitar sitting down very much at all, and really any Les Paul sitting down, I think I'm always standing when I'm playing them, I didn't realize how much of a pain in the butt they are because they just sit so low in your lap, and I don't know, the body wants to dive one way or the other. It's a very interesting experience that I don't know why I'm just discovering that now. I think I've just always stood when I'm playing Les Pauls. Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Appreciate you guys sticking around to 2025. That's pretty awesome. And if you like this video, consider clicking the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you want to subscribe, I appreciate that as well. All right, I will talk to you guys next time.